He's a student of the game. He's a very smart player, and he will do whatever it takes to win. He's that guy as far as that player. He's the type of player you want on your team.
Julius Wood is a versatile safety from Columbus, Ohio, who is extremely physical and one of the few tone setters coming from this draft class. This is an athlete that has a huge opportunity to make a statement early in his first season. A do-it-all player coming out of high school, he played ball for Walnut Hill and made a difference on both sides of the ball. He committed to Blinn College in Texas and played there for 2 years. After deciding to enter the transfer portal, he landed at East Carolina, starting the last 2 years at both free safety and buck safety, and did not disappoint. Entering the safeties room, the Dallas Cowboys are deep at the safety position with Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson leading the way. Julius Wood understands that it will be a battle to earn a spot, but if he can bring the same skills he showed at East Carolina, I'm sure that he'll be ready to shine come training camp. So when you're taking a look at Juju Woods, he's a player that stands at 6'1" and weighing in at 194 pounds. He is a violent player with a knack for laying the lumber and imposing his will on the opposition. And with that last name, Wood, that's definitely a perfect fit, pun intended. This past year, he had 87 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 3 tackles for a loss. With goal-driven energy and solid instincts, he's the type of prospect you will want on your team. So on this play here, you want your safeties to quickly read and diagnose the play, then close in and tackle the ball carrier. With his demeanor on the field, it's like a linebacker built in the safety's body, and you have to have that physically imposing energy when it comes down to the safety position. So he's lining up at that strong safety position, and they had this guy moving all over the defense throughout his career with East Carolina. He prefers to play strong safety, and throughout last year, teams didn't have that much film on him, so he was very, very productive. So it's going to be a draw play. You will see those 2 linebackers. They will be blitzing as well as that free safety. But seeing Juju having the ability to not be overly aggressive and close in and get to the running back, this will get you fired up. So we'll go ahead and run it. So zooming in on Wood, you see that he's backing up. Next thing you know, he's closing in because he sees the run. And the thing is, when you're playing that safety position, you got to go out there and thump these guys. And that's exactly what this guy did on this play. And throughout his career with Blinn College, he was very, very physical. Playing with East Carolina from his junior year and his sophomore year, he was one of the top dogs, a leader on and off the field, and he brought this kind of physicality week in and week out for this team. And usually in the NFL, if you can continue to have these type of plays here, these offensive players, they will cough up the ball. So having any kind of impact player that can be able to get the ball back to Dak Prescott, that's the type of energy that you need to shift momentum and change games. Here's a rep here where he was wearing number 32 in his junior year at East Carolina. He had 88 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. So he was balling his junior year. And with that safety position, it's good to see players get small, slither through the hole, and attack the ball carrier. Playing that strong safety position, there will be times he has to avoid second level blockers and get skinny. And he did not disappoint on his rep. So we'll go ahead and split it. So watching the patience from Juju, you can't be a safety that's overly aggressive all the time, getting skinny and thumping this guy. And with the defensive line, if they do their job right, Julius Woods is the type of player that if he has an open lane to be able to attack the ball carrier, the running back, or the wide receivers, this guy will continuously be physical with you all the way through the fourth quarter. And if the defensive line and the linebackers are doing their job, not allowing the offensive line to get to the second level, I'm sure that you'll see these type of plays from this player come preseason. So having a player who will step up in the gridiron and attack the offense will gain the confidence of the other 10 players on the field with this physical style. Having a safety who can flip his hips and track the ball in man or zone coverage is crucial for the entire defense. He wasn't the fastest guy at his pro day, but game speed and track speed are 2 different things. Seeing his rep here is a result of great instincts and coaching, putting this player in the right position. So on this play here, those 2 top wide receivers, they're going to be running across the field and they're going to be splitting in between the hashes. That bottom wide receiver, he's going to be running a post route and locking in on Julius Woods. He's going to flip his hips and cover ground. And the thing is, whenever you see these guys that can be able to flip their hips, do the basic things, this can separate the men from the boys when it comes down to the safety position. And the better NFL scouts, you have to zero in on these type of plays because regardless how fast the guy's 40 time is, if he can be able to close in on the ball like this, that's how you can be able to make a difference. So we'll go ahead and spin a block. So watching Wood, he's backpedaling smoothly. Next thing you know, he's lurking on that quarterback, reading his eyes and seeing what he's trying to do. And he knows that he's throwing that post route. And this guy's getting in position. He's just tracking the ball down, tracking it down. Next thing you know, he locked in and intercepted the ball. And the thing is, if you do have a guy that can be able to do things like this, finding ways to be able to get into their zone, reading the wide receiver and the quarterback and getting it done. And a lot of these plays like this, you have to think fast, you have to have good instincts and be on top of it. And it's also good to see a defender with a background playing wide receiver, just like Trayvon Diggs. They understand what wideouts are trying to do and can make a play on the ball before the wideout even knew what happened. 4 interceptions in his career is something scouts like to hear about. See ball, get ball mentality. One thing about Juju Wood is that he is not the perfect prospect. You will see that he does get beaten from his spot from time to time, and some players have the advantage on him right before the play even starts. So he's going to be lining up against that slot wide receiver, and he's going to be running a quick slant route. And sometimes playing that safety position, if you have too much depth, sometimes they can be able to get the advantage quickly. The second wide receiver, he's going to be running the seam route, and that outside wide receiver, he's going to be running the dig. And a lot of these offenses, they like to get the advantage pre-snap. Sometimes it's not the player, it could be the defense and where these guys are aligned. But the better coaches, you got to put these safeties in the right position so these guys can be able to squeeze in and make it harder for these wide receivers. So we're going to run it. So keying in on Wood, you see that these guys are running a quick slant play. And the thing is, you see that he was backing up, but he never had the advantage to be able to catch up to this guy. He did get the tackle on the play. We know that this guy is a physical tackler, but a lot of these quarterbacks in the NFL, they have an understanding of alignments when it comes down to these defenders. And playing against a guy like Julius Woods, he's quick, but he's not the fastest guy. So you don't want teams going out there and scheming on him. So you got to put him in good position. Here's another quick play of him getting beat to the spot, and he's going up against Roman Wilson, one of the top route runners in this past draft who was drafted by the Steelers. It's good to see these type of battles, both good and bad. So seeing these guys getting off the ball, and he's about 5 yards away from him, that's what Roman Wilson wants, and he's running that corner route. And he was famous for doing this past season for Michigan. If he knows that he can be able to have that much depth away from a defender, this guy will get separation. So you have to pay attention to that when you're going up against a lot of these wide receivers in the league. They will be running quick slant routes, corner routes, rocker steps. He will see a plethora of routes in the NFL, so he has to be on top of it. But he does have plays where he does good as far as coverage, but there are some reps that he can be better on, making sure that he's in the right position to better defend the play. Playing in the NFL, you're going to be going up against a lot of slippery wide receivers, so you have to be aware of what these guys are doing all the way to the whistle. Just the smaller separation can give the offense the advantage. So Roman Wilson, he's going to be lining up in that slot. He's going to be running the hitch route, and he's going to spin off of Juju and get to the back of the end zone. The outside wide receiver is going to be running the hitch, and that tight end, he's going to be running the corner route. But finishing these plays all the way throughout the whistle is going to be critical if he's going to see some playtime come Sundays. So we're going to run it. So zooming in on Juju, you see that he's locking in on Roman Wilson, and Roman Wilson gets to the end zone and runs that hitch. And seeing Wood staring at that quarterback, he wasn't going to throw the ball at that point, but this is when he gained separation. And the thing is, usually these wide receivers, they'll spin off, they try to get slippery, and he gets to the back of the end zone and gains about 3 yards of separation and scores a touchdown. And usually with these type of players, there will be plays that happens like this sometimes where these guys can be able to get away. These interior wide receivers, they have spatial awareness. They know how to be able to separate. But the better safeties, sometimes they line up against tight ends, or you might see these guys lining up against these players in the slot. So you have to be at these guys' hip pocket at all times. But you do see a lot of good plays from him. Stopping the run and being physical are some of his biggest attributes. He has shown the ability to be able to track the ball down. However, proper positioning and not allowing these wide receivers to gain advantage is something that he can work on. But if you're around guys like Trayvon Diggs, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, I believe that he can improve in these areas. What I observed from Julius Wood by watching his film is that he is a lot more disciplined and patient when angling on the opposition. He knows when to break to the ball and use his arms to wrap up running backs trying to bounce out to the perimeter. And there will also be scat backs that you're going up against in the NFL. So you got to make sure that you're on top of it. But angling well and making it harder for the running back, it was good to see from Juju. So we're going to run it. So running this play here, you see that he's lurking on a running back. And this guy tries to bounce to the outside, but he cuts it inside. Seeing the patience from Juju as well as the vision, next thing you know, this guy's going out there and wrapping them with his long arms. And the thing is, you want guys that can be able to wrap these guys up. If you get your hands on these guys, you have to get them down. Because if you're out there and you're missing tackles, you might end up getting benched. But the thing is with this type of player, if he can be able to get his hands on you, 9 times out of 10, he's going to get you down to the ground. So being a guy who can be violent and break through ball carriers is something that this team needs, Cowboys Nation. Playing on a first or second team defense will be great, but we must also mention special teams. Get this guy on the field and let's see if he has what it takes to boogie when it matters most. So in this final play here, I want to show y'all a quick rep of his closing speed. That running back, he's going to be getting the ball on the inside and he's going to be bouncing it to the outside. That safety and those two linebackers, they're going to be crashing in. But keying in on Wood, seeing that the running back bounced to the outside and put himself in position to get this guy out of bounds. And this was one of my favorite reps here because it actually showed his closing speed, getting yourself in good position and not allowing that running back to get any more yards. So let's run it. So looking at this play here, you see that the running back's getting the ball and seeing Woods, you see that he's lurking. Next thing you know, he sees that that running back's getting to the outside and he's attacking the player. And the thing is with this guy here, man, I love to be able to see these plays when it comes down to these type of players. Not only can you be able to cover, but you can be able to attack the ball. He did hit that guy out of bounds. It was a penalty on the play. You don't want that to happen when it comes down to playing in the NFL because that can be critical. You got to make sure that you're on top of it. But I do like his physicality. I love his leadership. His favorite player was Ed Reed, so that should tell you all you need to know and how he feels about the safety position. Can this guy go out there and make a difference come training camp? We'll see about that, but he's going to have to prove it early and often, Cowboys Nation, if he's going to make this team. So with Julius Wood, he has an opportunity to make a difference year one. And shout out to Big Game James, my content creating brother. He's actually friends with his father. So he has a good understanding on what this player can be able to do to help this team. Very, very physical. He has great instincts and he has the ability to roam sideline to sideline. He's not scared to tackle these guys, but there are things that he needs to work on. Special teams is very important. If this guy wants to make a quick impact, it starts with special teams. We all know how important that is once you get into playoff games. So he's going to have that sponge type of mentality, learning from all of these veterans and leaving it out there on the field. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about Julius Wood and if this guy can go out there and make an impact early on in training camp. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys Nation. Talk to y'all soon. Gone.